what I would like us to do is to first start by defining space and place. Now, to define space and place, I would like us to do a couple of things on the internet. And the first thing we do, I would like us to explore. I would like us to explore just using a normal web browser. Maybe you can use Google. You can use Google Chrome. You can use Edge. You can use whichever browser that you are comfortable with. So in your browser, I would like you to just type in YouTube. Type in YouTube first, so that we are only going to access videos from YouTube. Open YouTube. So the next thing you do, you want to watch video of New York downtown. New York downtown. Yes, this one looks better.
New York is situated in the northeast region of the United States of America. Over 8 million people call the Big Apple home, and the city attracts up to 50 million visitors a year. Ever since the colonists arrived in 1624, New York has been continuously shaped by the waves of immigrants drawn here by the promise of hope and liberty. Every newcomer arrived with a cultural suitcase that contributed to the sounds, tastes, and textures of New York. But it is their dreams which built the city, a city like no other. New York touches not only the heavens with its mythic skyline, its influence in Big Apple's most iconic symbol, the Art Deco design, the tough got going, the Rockefeller Center, the shopping spree. The city is shopaholic. New York has been blessed with generous civic space, was reinvested into collecting some of the greatest 21st century masterpieces. Lives on that darkest of September days, from all over the world. And who could forget Coney Island?
Now, you can stop watching this and I'll stop sharing. Now, as you ponder about what we have just watched, I would like us to again watch another thing.
Syracuse, New York is a pretty cool place. By college basketball fans as the home of Syracuse University. I think the landmark that stands out most of all to me in Syracuse was Penthouse Beach, apparently too prestigious to touch, which is an addition native to nearby Utica, New York. This area is important for a public square. The Clinton Exchange Building, for instance, used to be a post office, a building where active highways make on downtown cities. In Syracuse, Interstate 81 runs directly through the city, north-south from Canada on its way to Binghamton and areas south. Most of these highways running right through the middle of the city has created.
Let us look at the north side. North side residence. Now, I want you to notice the sizes of the buildings. I want you to notice the space. And maybe you could also take a keen look at the kind of buildings that are around this area. So before we continue, I would like you to start thinking about, we have seen the pictures of the buildings in New York City. We have looked at Syracuse City, and then we have seen factors such as the I-81 highway and how it divided the city into two portions. We have seen several skyscrapers, we have companies, we have New York being the hub of immigrants into the United States. We have various factors summing up these two different cities. Now, I want you to think about New York as a place, and Syracuse as a place. And other than just looking at Syracuse as a place, I want you to look at the Syracuse downtown as a place, and look at Syracuse North Side as a place. Then try to think about which factors, which conditions, which daily experiences are, let's say, students coming from these areas are likely to experience. So as you think about that and as you ponder about that, I want us to watch this other final video. So,
Try to see why central investigation begins to reveal the impact of a 100-year-old map. The map of 1919 is the first known document, a government record, that separated our city into neighborhoods, labeled Jewish or Polish or Negro, among others. It's perhaps the clearest example of...
I like the term that is using, neighborhoods. So think about neighborhoods. As we think about place and space, let us think about neighborhoods. Now, will neighborhoods play out as a place, or will it play out as a space? So let's continue listening.
Institutional racism. Tonight, this journey begins in a special series we're calling The Map. Segregated series. Engineer Henry Allen boldly penciled in ethnic labels on the...
Now I want us to narrow down to this and zoom in to what this engineer did. What the engineer did, penned down. It must have been a masterpiece by then, because people always love being in places near them. But then what has this done to our society? The impact of this can still be felt today. And what I'm thinking about, or what we are thinking about while looking at this module, is that we want to be realistic and think about students as coming from these different zones that have been geopolitically created. Like, this is geopolitical zoning. So we want to think about these zones, and we want to think about students coming from these zones and how they are embodied as they walk into our classrooms. These students have different experiences. These students have different ways of looking at life. They speak different languages. They have different first language. They have different traditions. They have different cultures. And you see, there is no space so that these cultures can blend together. These cultures can work together. They are completely different. And according to Gutierrez, in Gutierrez's own words, I would say each community has its own ways of knowing. So as they walk into our classes, they are completely different people and have different ways of knowing. So let us go to the next thing, and the next thing will be an activity. In this activity, I would like you to grab a paper and a pen. Now, with your paper and pen, I would like you to draw your class sitting arrangement. And bear in mind that the students you are having in your class are from different racial backgrounds, different places. So think about them as being members of your class. Maybe you can plan with 6 to 10 students. Then I want you, after doing your sketch and highlighting the reason why you are proposing that your seating arrangement will be very valuable, will help you achieve the objectives that you have set at the end of the day, then I would like you to use Adobe Scanner to scan your work. And then after you scan your work, annotate your given reasons for various decisions that you make in arranging your students. And then after that, I would like you to post this on a Padlet. Now, what will help you use Adobe Scanner and post on a Padlet are these links that are provided. After you go through that, and you realize that after you've created, you made your post there, you made your comments, I want you to get a link and allow whoever has a link to see whatever you are doing on your Padlet. So, but you may choose not to allow them to comment, you may choose not to allow them to make changes to your documents, but the best thing is to allow them to comment. If you allow them to comment, just copy the link and then share that link on our joint discussion board. Now, these links, I anticipate that each one of us will find some time to at least look at 2 different class arrangements and comment. So make sure you are commenting for your peers. You're looking at what your peers have done, look at their reasons, look at what they anticipate, look at how they are arranging their classes, and compare that with your own, and then comment. This should maybe bring some sort of bit of discussion. I will be following. I will also comment for each one of you, and I will also be looking at the kind of comments that you post, and then we should be able to just freely interact, exchange, and move on to the second activity. After reviewing other sketches and reading comments from your peers, adjust your hypothetical seating arrangement. And as you adjust this seating arrangement, give reasons. Give your considered reasons why you are going to adjust and why it has to. And if it has to remain the same way, you also give reasons that with this, I will achieve this. With this particular one, I will achieve this. With this particular one, I will achieve this. So that is the kind of expectation I want. And even as we think about this, I want us to remember the picture of these students have different ways of knowing. These students have already forming schemas, and our work as teachers is to tap into these schemas and create an inclusive learning space so that learning can continue taking place. So with that, finally, I will expect that you review this particular article. You can skim through, you can read through, and then after you read through, listen to the ideas that are being proposed by Jojo and Medikizela. Now, once you go through, I want you to think about the two. The seating arrangement exposure, the videos that we have watched, and what this particular article is talking about. So think about this, review them, and do an initial post. Your initial post will be on the discussion board. And on the Brightspace discussion board, each one of us is going to post an initial post. Then from the initial post, everyone else, at least each one of us should comment on two initial posts. And please be generous. Make sure if there are two people who have already commented for one person, please be courteous to comment for another person so that we have each one of us having at least two comments. But you're allowed to comment for as many people as possible. And as you read through the initial post, you are gaining a lot. And this is how we want learning to take place, like organically. So after we have that Brightspace discussion board interaction, I will expect us to meet to have one virtual class discussion, and this will be the way we conclude our week. So we will conclude our week by having a virtual class discussion, and in this class, the expectation is that we will review the activities we have done, and as we review, we'll be looking at which seating arrangement is the best, or which seating arrangement is ideal, and which reasons is the person who designed it putting across, and is it okay to have any other seating arrangement? Remember, the answer lies with you. So each one of us has a reason, each one of us has a way, each one of us has a say on how they would organize their classes to maximize their learning outcome.